struck him out. Boots it, baby! Last play.
It has been a nice recipe for success. The first two games here in Chicago. Some fantastic back into the bullpen pitching. Some timely home runs. Kyle Seager, Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano and company looking for a chance for the series sweep today on the south side against the last place Chicago White Sox. Very beautiful day here in Chicago as we take a look now at the Mariners starting lineup.
Following Segura, Danny Valencia will move up and hit second with the left-hander on the mound. It's been about the home run in this series. Nelson Cruz, his 18th home run last night. Kyle Seager, his 11th home run in last night. A hot second half would be great to see from him. Taylor Motter will round out the ninth for the Mariners. For Holland this year, it's been a struggle. You can see his ERA over 5. 91 and 2/3 innings for him, 78 strikeouts. Fastball right around 91 miles an hour, primarily a curve, but he also has a slider and a changeup.
Facing Gene Segura right away. Holland's first pitch is throttled foul. Not by much. Now Gene is looking like he was picking up right where he left off from the All-Star break. A couple of hits last night. 3 hits in game 1 of the series, including a couple of runs scored.
You can see he has his batting average up to 352 now. 6 home runs for him on the year.
The very popular question among many Mariners fans right now is how many more plate appearances will it take for Gene Segura to qualify for a batting title to lead the league and lead baseball batting over 350, and he will have enough plate appearances by the end of this road trip. He's coming close to that number. Lazy fly ball, but a little bit of carry out to Garcia for out number 1 as we take a look now, Mike, at the White Sox defense.
And they've struggled this year. They are second to last in fielding percentage. A number of guys getting a chance to start for the first time. Alan Hansen will be in center field. Yolmer Sanchez getting to start at second base, and Omar Narvaez will do the catching.
Danny Valencia finds himself batting second, the left-hander up on the mound. Well, the Mariners have now won 3 in a row dating back to the final game of the first half. The Mariners have won 4 of their last 5 and find themselves 3 games outside of the second wild card entering today. Right now, as you look at the wild card standings, the Tampa Bay Rays holding down the top spot. The Yankees the second wild card. We of course will be seeing New York for 4 games on a big homestand coming up shortly.
Scouting report on Holland. We mentioned some of his struggles. His fastball is down. Average fastball at 91 miles an hour. He wants to pitch inside. He'll pitch inside quite a bit. There's his curveball. His curveball this year, again, he's given up 19 home runs, 7 of them on his curveball. So a pitch that he used to use as a strikeout pitch has been hit around a little bit this year. His last 2 outings have not been good, including the one against the Rockies where he gave up 7 earned runs.
Lined, and this time a fair ball. And it hops into the seats. Fan gets a piece of it. Double for Valencia. Well, Segura nearly had a double, but a ball that went foul. This time Valencia gets one in fair.
Second double in the series for Danny. He had a double in Friday night's game, just missed hitting a home run, but he gets on top of this fastball. You can see again the location right on the inside corner. And a fan touches it, so it will be a double.
Oh, trying to put it back. A little too late at that point.
The Mariners lineup today. They have 7 total home runs against Holland, all of them from the guys in the middle of the lineup. Cano with 2, Seager with 2, Nelson Cruz with 3.
Holland 8 years in Texas with the Rangers, drafted and developed by Texas. That was first year in Chicago. A lot of teams stayed away from Holland as a free agent this offseason because of health concerns. His last couple of seasons have really been plagued by injury. And when we saw Holland earlier in the first half of the season, he was absolutely dealing. His first 10 starts, an ERA well beneath 2.5. It has been a different story his last 7 times out, and earned an average over 10 with 11 home runs. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cano. Holland having to work around a 1-out double by Valencia. Gets the corner to make it 1-2.
For Holland this year, first time through the lineup, he wants to establish his fastball. He throws it about 62% of the time. Second, third time through, you're going to see a lot of off-speed pitches from him. He really relies on his curveball, not his fastball as much.
You can see the splits there for a moment for Cano. As Robbie chops this one to Sanchez at second base. That moves Valencia into third. 2 outs and a runner 90 feet from home early on for Nelson Cruz.
Nelson with the 2-run home run last night, leads the league with 72 RBIs. It was his 18th home run. Mariners as a team hitting .265 with runners in scoring position.
I was thinking the other day, Mike, when Nelly went basically he went a month between home runs. Now he did not play in each and every game. There was dealing with a little bit of injury, but for a lot of 40 home run hitters, if you don't hit a home run for a month, you are maybe a 0 or close to it for your team. You're probably a big strikeout guy.
Yep.
You're not getting on base much, and yet Nelson Cruz is a rare breed of 40 home run hitter that even if he does not hit a home run for a month or so, still a very productive hitter for your team.
Well, there's 18 home runs this year, again leading the league in RBIs. He's hitting .292, and with runners in scoring position, he's hitting .360. So when you think of the team batting average at .265, he's had a lot of opportunities, but he's cashed them in with a .360 average.
Valencia at third base, and it hits him. Holland and Nelson, longtime teammates in Texas, and Holland could not speak with any higher regard about Nelson Cruz as a former teammate.
Holland probably happy that he was kidding.
Runners on the corners for Kyle Seager. Seager and Cano last season tied for the major league lead most left on left home runs in the game. Seager facing a left-hander here. On the first pitch out to center field. Hansen is there today. We saw him off the bench late last night. Seager is out number 3. The Mariners strand runners on the corners. Young Andrew Moore, his first career start on the road, is coming up. 3 major league starts so far for Andrew Moore, 3 quality starts as he takes them out here today in the series finale. A chance for a series sweep against the Chicago White Sox. So the Mariners will be facing this lineup.
White Sox have had their troubles this year, but they are 6th in the American League in hitting. Hitting second in the lineup, Melky Cabrera, 4 hits in last night's game, including a home run, his 11th on the year. Avisel Garcia hitting 5th in the lineup, the All-Star for the White Sox this year. And Alan Hansen, he had a pinch hit appearance in last night's contest. He will round out the 9 for Chicago. For Andrew Moore, again, this will be his 4th start. 1-1 record, a 3.86 ERA, 21 innings pitched, just the 2 walks. He'll want to command the strike zone today. Again, his best secondary pitch will be his slider, although he has a curveball and a changeup. Fastball will sit right around 91 miles an hour. And a look at the defense. Guillermo Heredia getting the start in center field. Taylor Motter over on left. Mike Zunino had yesterday off, so back behind the plate this afternoon.
First pitch missing for ball 1 to Yolmer Sanchez. Poison a strike that time. Lined into left field, and Motter is there to put it away for round number 1. Well, the White Sox entered today with the worst record in the American League. Only the Phillies and the Giants a poorer record overall in the majors. Chicago, managed by Rick Renteria, who had an early exit in last night's game. White Sox have dropped 3 in a row. They've lost 6 of their last 7.
Renteria ejected for the 6th time. Lets you know how frustrating this year has been for him.
No other manager has been tossed more than 3 times. Cabrera, a fine night last night in game 2. He was the leadoff hitter for the White Sox last night. A home run, also 3 singles, scored 2 runs. Moore head quickly 0-2. Mike, when we have seen Moore so far for 3 starts, the poise has been very impressive. The command has been very impressive, and maybe those 2 things are intertwined a little bit.
Oh, I think that they are. I think that it speaks to a lot about who he is and what he's about. A 2nd-round pick for the Mariners. I think the ability, when you talk about the poise, to come out and pitch his first 2 games and not walk a batter is impressive in itself. Only 2 walks through the first 3 starts for him. He's pitched deep into the games. He's shown an ability to command the strike zone. The thing I like is because his fastball will sit right around 91 miles an hour. He can use his curveball to get back into counts. He doesn't have to challenge hitters when he falls behind 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. He can get back with a breaking ball, which is going to be important for him because he doesn't have the overpowering fastball, and then put you away with a slider. The interesting thing, I know it's early in his career, but if you look at him, first 30 pitches in his starts, opponent's hitting 304. After that, the rest of the pitches, they're hitting under 200, 182. So some of that to me is a young man that wants to command the strike zone early, maybe catching a little bit too much of the plate first time through the lineup. And then as the game moves on, you see him pitching off the edges a little bit more. I think the first inning for him is going to be important. Cabrera putting up a fight again. He had 4 hits last night.
Has fouled off 5 pitches. His next pitch will be number 9. The 2-2. A flick into center field for Cabrera, who is aboard once again. 1-out single by the White Sox left fielder.
He is hot because he hits a pretty good pitch. This looks like a changeup down. Excellent location down towards the outside corner, moving away from it, but he just stays with it. You can see out in front of it a little bit, but able to keep his hands back long enough, hit the line drive back up the middle.
One out, 1 on for Jose Abreu. Cabrera drawing the attention of Moore for a moment. Mike, when you were playing, did you have this sense of almost licking your chops a little bit facing a young pitcher like an Andrew Moore, or was there a element of mystery because you've never seen the guy before?
I think there's that part of it, and I think it also goes down to the type of stuff that he has. I think with Andrew, and I think he's been able to get some outs because of it, because you don't see the 95, 96 from him. I think guys feel that they have a chance. They're a little more comfortable, and I think they're a little more aggressive with him, and he plays off of that and gets some easy outs. But typically the first time through, even though you've seen video and you looked at the scouting reports and seen the numbers and all the stuff that we're going to talk about, the players are available. We talk about it all the time. You have to stand in the batter's box, see if you can pick up the release point, what he's going to try to do you as far as the scouting report, and adjust from that. So basically the first time through, it's a broken bat. First time through, you're just trying to gather as much information as you can.
New bat for Abreu. Andrew Moore's probably not a guy who's going to break a ton of bats, but he gets one here.
I think he'll surprise you.
Really?
As he moves forward, yes, because he's willing to pitch inside, and I think as he starts to use his curveball and changeup more, because he can mix it up and use all of his pitches, which he has done. I think his fastball inside at 91, because he can locate it on the inside corner with a little bit of run to it, he'll break some bats.
Zunino trying to hold that one, but outside 2-2.
He's missing with the slider.
Abreu never easy, batting .293 entering today, 16 home runs on the season. Number 3 hitter for the White Sox. He's got Cabrera at first after a 1-out single. Now things change obviously with the runner on base, but it was interesting talking with Jerry DiPoto earlier today, like you and me both, and him referencing the pace in which Andrew Moore pitches and the fact that he has grown up in a minor league era with the pitch clock,
which I think we're going to see at the major league level sometime soon. And I thought it was a very good point as he pitches inside. I thought it was a very good point that he made, and that the guys in the minor leagues are used to it. And I asked him, I said, do you think it helps them? In other words, makes them a better pitcher? And he thought that was the case also.
It's now the 3rd year for the pitch clock in the minors. Frazier on deck. White Sox cleanup hitter. Pops up to 3-2. Zunino, who had last night off, waited a long time for this. Out number 2.
Good to see him win that battle again. Good fastball located right on the inside corner, jammed him up. Poor Andrew, it's rare too. We talked about him just walking the 2 batters in his first 3 games, but I think the thing that is impressive to me along with that is he uses all of his pitches. And what I mean by that, of course, he's going to use his fastball more. Everybody does. His fastball percentage this year is at 49%, but his slider at 19, his curveball at 19, and his changeup at 13% at any point in the count. It's rare to see a young pitcher have the ability to do that.
Frazier struggling lately, comes up here with 2 outs and 1 on. Well, especially for a young pitcher, how many times do we hear a manager say of a rookie starter, well, he's got these 2 pitches working on a changeup?
Right. I hear it all the time. Speaking of the changeup, and it's really, it's not that they're all perfect, and he's going to fine-tune them. His command of them will get better as he moves along, but the confidence that he has and knowing that he has to use them all is the impressive part, because typically you'll lean on a couple of your pitches, right? If everybody will throw their fastball, but typically it'll be a slider or a curveball or the changeup. He uses all of them, and he will do that.
Missing inside to make it 2-1. Looking at Frazier's numbers this year, if you look just at the surface level, 210, 16 home runs, which is a high number, but not egregiously high. The home runs, that is. kind of assumed that he'd be a 100 strikeout guy, but 70 strikeouts this year for Frazier, which seemed to be on the low side for a guy batting with that low of an average.
It's a bit surprising. I would agree.
To put it in context, Matt Davidson, the DH, with 18 home runs, so 2 more than Frazier, far and away leading the White Sox in strikeouts over 100. More chance for a strikeout here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Heredia getting the start in center field. Dyson a day off. Out number 3. Cabrera, that 1-out single, goes no further. We've played an inning from Chicago. As we move on to the top of the second, good look at Edgar Martinez, and inspired by the classic 1999 Edgar Martinez commercial, the iClub New York t-shirt can be yours this Friday when the Mariners meet the Yankees. The first 20,000 fans receive the must-have shirt with the phrase that appeared on the bumper sticker of Edgar's vintage car. For tickets, just go to mariners.com. You know, Mike, looking up Edgar's numbers quickly against the Yankees.
Pretty good.
Now, this is, I would not call this a small sample size. Nearly 140 games. Edgar was a .317 hitter against New York with an OPS of .965. So he did club New York.
So it's okay with the bumper sticker?
I think it's okay. I think he can pull it off. Second pitch in play off the bat of Guillermo Heredia, out to his counterpart in center. One out for Ben Gamble, third in the American League, batting .322 this year. Now, Mike, we say that about Edgar and the Yankees, and as I sort by batting average, he hit over 300 against everybody. So this is it's not like this is an outlier or anything.
Yeah. Did pretty well against Rivera too. Hall of Fame closer for the Yankees. It was amazing to watch him have at bats against him.
I mean, seriously, against every team outside of some National League clubs where he had just a handful of at bats, the worst that he hit against any single opponent was the Red Sox, and it was an appalling .289.
He is, you mentioned the few National League clubs, he's the biggest reason why I have always said that when you have interleague play, you should switch over. In other words, when the National League club is playing at Safeco, play the National League rules, and then when you go to the National League ballparks, play the American League rules so that other fans and cities can see Edgar hit. They missed out on it.
No doubt about that. Low pick by Abreu, 2 outs.
Zunino back in the lineup. Had last night off. So day game today as you take a look at Edgar.
Oh, and 579 against Rivera, just in case some people forgot.
Yeah.
OPS of 1700. There's Zunino with 2 quick outs. The first pitch from Holland out to center. Right in front of the warning track. Hansen is there. 7 pitches to get 3 outs from Derek Holland. A quick top of the second. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. Glad you're with us today on a beautiful day from Chicago. Mariners looking for their first series sweep of the White Sox since 2003 here inside the White Sox home ballpark. Ichiro hit a home run off of Bartolo Colon in that series, by the way. That is what we're talking about. It's been a while. Garcia goes after the first pitch. Shot deep to center. This pushes Heredia to the wall, and the White Sox grab an early lead. An all-star for the first time in his career. Home run number 12 this year for Garcia.
And the White Sox have read the scouting report. Little breaking ball first pitch, but he throws a lot of strikes. I look for them to be a little more aggressive. It's just a good swing. Pitch wasn't too bad on a first pitch breaking ball in the outer half of the plate.
Ball one to Davidson. Now the White Sox have scored the first run each of the first 2 games of this series, so the Mariners will have a chance for their 3rd straight come from behind win. Heredia make it Gamble. See the deke there by Cano? He fell for it for a minute.
And Phil Cuzzy were laughing about it after. I think Phil fell for it too. Second base umpire.
In steps Tim Anderson, the young shortstop. This is very Adrian Beltre-esque, something that Beltre does all the time.
Yeah, but that's when Elvis Andrus, the shortstop, is going to catch it, not the right fielder.
Two and one.
Good fastball on the outside corner. Andrew did throw 23 pitches in the first inning, was able to get out of it. He's going to need a quick inning.
Anderson, a young player the White Sox locked up long term during spring training of this year. He had spent barely 100 days on the White Sox active roster before that extension. Something we have seen the Tampa Bay Rays do with great success over the years. Pass to dive of Segura into left field. 1-out single for Anderson.
Now Stottlemyre making a trip out to the mound. Out of the dugout quickly. Look at Andrew Moore. So far this year, now giving up 10 earned runs, 6 home runs. So not bunching a lot of hits together, but he's giving up a few home runs.
Bell back to the bench. Zunino back behind home. 1 out, a run in, and a man on for Narvaez, the catcher. Just like Garcia going after the first pitch.
First pitch fastball away from him. I think sometimes, Aaron, you try to figure out what the opposing team and their approach is going to be on a given day, and that pitcher, I think some days you have a pretty good idea when you go to the ballpark. That's it.
3-0 White Sox. First home run this year for Narvaez.
Already a couple of home runs for the White Sox.
Moore has not given up more than 3 runs in any start this year. He's given up 3 here in the second.
And again, right where he wanted to throw it, on the inside corner. As a pitcher, things have gone pretty well for him. You're going to have games where it's going to be more difficult. And we were talking about his composure earlier in the ball game. Maybe it's going to be tested a little bit today.
Oh, and Hansen is fouled off.
But I think on the scouting reports, it's clear that the White Sox are going to be aggressive, and it's because of the amount of strikes that Andrew throws.
Already there for round number 2. RBI Baseball 2017 is out now for Xbox One, PS4, iOS, and Android. Enjoy fast-paced pick-up-and-play MLB action packed with all your favorite teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Your breakout MLB season is here. You better come ready to play. Learn more at RBIGame.com. So with Felix, when we've talked about how teams approach the king over the last few years, really more than that, it's because in large part they don't want to see that change up with 2 strikes. So you're saying that being aggressive here with more, a little bit of a different reason, maybe
because of the strikes. And you see the Mariners the same way. On flip side against Holland, the fastball inside, they're trying to get to it early.
3 runs in on a couple of homers. We're through 2. as we make our way to the top of the third here in Chicago. Cheer on the team, then round your way home with the Sound Transit Day Pass. You can learn more by going to soundtransit.org. Couple of home runs for the White Sox in the home second. Garcia on the first pitch of the inning out to center field, and then Narvaez the catcher. His first home run this year, the second of his career. Taylor Motter leads off the third for the Mariners. It looks almost ruled ball one. You look at the numbers for Holland in his career against the Mariners, and he has faced the Mariners a lot over the course of his time. Over 20 big league starts against Seattle, and an ERA that is right around 3.5. But even with that many starts, you have to think that those numbers are a little deceiving. This is not the same lineup that Holland faced years ago, as his throw is a little wild, but corralled by Abreu. But that being said, Holland, over the course of his career, has pitched well against the Mariners, including this year.
A little bit different when you look at his overall numbers. Doesn't quite have the fastball that he used to. And he's had some issues with his curveball this year, which is, in the past, has been his best pitch. Opponent's slugging .577 against his curveball. He's been a little bit different. He's probably trying to make some adjustments himself.
Segura, first pitch, locked it out to the gap in left center field. And onto the track with just enough room. Hanson. 4 pitches and 2 outs.
It's interesting, kind of a hazy day here, humid day in Chicago. Watching the outfielders, saw Gamble in the last inning. See, watching them going around trying to catch the fly ball. They're all struggling a little bit. Hanson right there struggling to see the ball. He ended up catching it awkwardly on the warning track, and I'm not sure that was necessarily the fence. He was having a tough time seeing it.
And a windy day too. They put the shift on for Danny Valencia.
Danny with a double his first time up. Double right down the left field line. Solid line drive. His second double in this series.
Time call. Abreu gives chase, but this is out of play. 0-2 on Valencia. If he can reach Cano, is on deck. Robbie with a home run in game 1 of this series. And here comes the 0-2. Strike 3 call. Now 7 pitches in the second, 7 pitches in the third for Holland. White Sox leading. We take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Ariel Miranda, who has been the most consistent starter for the Mariners this season. Opponents batting just .216 against Miranda. Will start the series opener in Houston against Lance McCullers and that vicious curveball. Game 1 of 3 from Minute Maid Park coming your way tomorrow night.
Give you a scouting report. McCullers is going to throw that curveball a lot tomorrow.
That's best in the business, Mike Flowers. All right, now let's go back to the Ford Sports Desk. Welcome in Bill Kruger. And Bill, talk to us a little bit about young Andrew Moore and in particular pitch selection for Moore.
Bill, what are some of the things that you like about him? I was looking at some numbers for him today, and I mentioned it earlier. Obviously, he's going to use his fastball more than any of his other pitches, but really he gives the slider and the curveball and the changeup fairly equal play. Where do you think his secondary pitches are at this point in his career?
Finally, Bill, how would you have done pitching with the pitch block?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Bill. Good insights as always. We'll hear more from Bill coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. 1-out, nobody on for Abreu. Weak ground ball with some eyes right past Cano. A 1-out base hit.
Again, well located off speed pitch. You can see the breaking ball right on the outside corner at the knees, but he just stays with it. Trying to get the ground ball, was able to, but he finds a hole. I thought it was interesting, Bill, with some of the same comments that Jerry had about the pitch clock. I think that it would be difficult for some of the guys up here initially, but as time moves on, I think it'll be something they'll benefit from.
I don't think Commissioner Manfred is patient or this patient, but to a point kind of earlier, at a certain point in the game, everybody who would be pitching in the major leagues would have pitched with the pitch clock in the minors if things stayed as they are right now.
Correct.
Average time of game in the first half, 3 hours, 5 minutes. If that's the number that the season ends at, it would be the longest average time of game in baseball history. One out. Abreu at first base for Frazier. Flew out to center field earlier. Plenty Mariners fans in the ballpark here today. Well fed. Two and two.
Again, a good fastball right on the inside corner. Rander, he wants to get him out with the slider. Show him the fastball inside. Hold it foul for a strike. Slider down and away from him. Maybe get another ground ball. Turn a double play.
Brett, you're not far off the bag. Andrew Moore from Oregon, went to high school in Eugene, went to Corvallis, pitched for the Beavs in college. Off to Zunino. When Moore was coming out of high school in Eugene, this was right around the time where the Ducks were beginning to start up their baseball program again. And obviously, one of the top recruits out of the state and in the Ducks' backyard. There was a very strong push to get Andrew Moore to pitch at Oregon. But the appeal of the program and the tradition, the history, the success of Oregon State drew Andrew Moore to Corvallis.
So far, I thought he had him set up, but he's missed with a couple of the off-speed pitches, both of them up. He's down in the zone. That's what's going to get the ground ball.
Line to left field. Motter back a step or two. 2 outs. Facing Garcia for the second time. He has thrown Garcia only one pitch. It was a home run out to center field.
Breaking ball right at the knees towards the outside corner.
Two outs. Abreu at first base as we play in the bottom of the third.
Beginning of the game, we talked about the back end of the bullpen. Guys having to pitch a couple days in a row coming out of the All-Star break. Everybody was available to pitch today if they need him. Right now, a lot of pitches for Andrew. 60 pitches as he works here in the third. This will be the 60th pitch. There are a few guys out there that we have not seen. Possibly Gallardo, the long guy, get a chance to pitch.
Pagan, multiple innings.
And we haven't seen Pazos yet.
Pagan has looked fantastic in his handful of appearances out of the Mariners bullpen. Back and forth this year between Seattle and Tacoma. Paxton went 6 innings in game 1. Felix 5 innings last night in a game 2 win. Moore falls behind 3-1. Drifting back, looking up, and Garcia has homered for the second time. $5-0 Chicago. Third home run today for the White Sox, the second with a runner aboard.
And I mentioned it in this inning, some off-speed pitches up in the zone, and that's what this is going to be. 80 miles an hour, the changeup. Didn't want to give in to him. 3-1 count. That pitch right in the middle of the plate. Towering home run to left.
First pitch missing to Davidson. Garcia now with 4 home runs in 7 games against the Mariners. And his second multi-homer game. This is the 3rd straight 3-ball count for Moore.
One of the big differences between somebody that is throwing 95 to 97 opposed to 91 and 93. You can't get away with as much, especially if you're falling behind in the count. Outing on Friday, he was dominant. His fastball 95 to 98 miles an hour. You're pitching them the middle of the plate a little bit more.
I mentioned Pagan a moment ago. Emilio warming up.
Pitch count really starting to climb now. 70 pitches.
Scott talking things over. This is turning out to be another lengthy at bat.
8 pitches so far.
We saw Cabrera with a 9th pitch at bat of the first. Continues. 21 pitches to the last 3 hitters for Moore. Meanwhile, you look at Holland, 7 pitches in the second, 7 more in the third. Line with foul. Davidson, a guy, as we just saw for a brief moment, a huge strikeout victim. But Moore has not been able to put him away with 2 strikes. His next pitch will be the 35th this inning. Pitch number 11.
And you don't like to see that with anybody on the mound, but especially a young pitcher having to throw so many pitches in a short period of time.
Pitch to Davidson. Ties him up, gets him. That is how this inning finally comes to a close. A lengthy one for Andrew Moore as we are going to the 4th. kind of his wheelhouse. Well, the difference in pitches pretty drastic. Moore 75, Holland 28. First pitch strike to Cano.
Talked about it before with pitch counts and pitchers and the way that they go about their business, and we're seeing both sides of being aggressive. It's worked out for the White Sox, and for the Mariners it hasn't so far. But even though Holland likes to throw his fastball a lot early, he's not been able to get some quick outs with it. Andrew Moore, it's not been the case. As an offensive group, if that's going to be the way you want to attack the pitcher, you have to understand that they may be deeper in the game and work quickly. Doesn't always pay off. Sometimes it does.
And play, and what a backhand stab behind the back, and it's stuck in the webbing of Holland's glove. A la John Lester to first base.
It's an amazing catch. He's going to catch it behind his back.
Our Big Fish Casino big catch.
He just throws his glove out there, catches it in the webbing to the point to where it sticks, and he can't get it out of the webbing of the glove. An underhand toss all the way.
Now, the irony of all of this is that that is channeling as much of a Cano play as you can imagine for Holland, getting Cano out. I mean, this is as something that, although I think Robbie is too cool to have the ball stuck in the glove, but he would make it look this easy. And Abreu, nice snag on the back end.
It looks like he needs a new glove. Broke a leather string in there. So look the way they had their defense set up. Anderson was playing up the middle. He would have been able to make the play.
Oh, but that wouldn't have been as cool.
It wouldn't have been as entertaining. No, I agree with that.
This has happened before. It has not obviously happened often. Lester's the last guy that I feel like I've seen it happen to Lester a couple of times, actually. Or maybe it's just been replayed that many times. Guess that one won't fit. And that was a fantastic play. And so far, everything turning out well for Holland today. Cruz trying to change that. Looks at strike one.
Still throwing in the Mariner pen, so it looks like Andrew Moore is done for the day. Nelson did not like that call for good reason, and off the plate.
The 1-2. Tough day for Moore. Bullpen will have to chip in today. We've seen Pagan work 4 innings multiple times this year. Strike 3 call. Borderline pitch.
Everything inside in this at bat, including this last pitch. A little two-seamer, maybe started off the corner, tried to run it back. Ripper, the home plate umpire, thought it was good enough.
Cruz yet to swing the bat today, was hit by the second pitch he saw in the first inning. Shift is on for Seager. Mariners only hit so far the double by Valencia, second batter of the game. Lofted with carry right field, and Kyle Seager has homered for the second time in this series. Back-to-back games with a home run for Kyle Seager, and the Mariners are on the board.
And I like that they keep trying him inside. Showed the highlight before the game of Kyle's home run yesterday, and it was a fastball right on the inside corner. And he hit it out of the ballpark, able to keep it fair. And this is Silmer trying to go right back to the same place. But Kyle will catch it out front, short swing. Head right on it, drives it out of the ballpark, his 12th home run.
Heredia out to right field. This one playable for Garcia. That ends the top of the fourth, but the Mariners get on the board for the first time. Kyle Seager, home run number 12 on the season. Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Steel. To find your local Steel dealer, visit steeldealers.com. And by CHI Franciscan Health, the Mariners' official partners in health. Learn to stay Northwest healthy at nwhealthy.org. Mariners on the board for the first time thanks to Kyle Seager's home run. 5-1 White Sox. It was a rough day for Andrew Moore in only his fourth career major league start. He has given way to the bullpen early. Emilio Pagan on to work in the fourth inning for the Mariners.
For Pagan, this will be his fifth appearance, a 4.22 ERA. 10 2/3. He has 11 strikeouts, just a couple of walks. Opponents hitting 143 against him. Good fastball. His average fastball at 94. He will touch 95, 96 at times. Slider, changeup. Right-handers typically he's going to go fastball, slider.
He'll face the bottom third of the order. It begins with Tim Anderson. Swinging strike one. Pagan in his fourth stint with the Mariners this year. We haven't seen him since the early days of June. Good start for Pagan. Last time we saw Emilio, that was against the Blue Jays. 4 scoreless, no-hit innings with 5 strikeouts against the Blue Jays. Did something similar against the Nationals this year as well.
Good fastball at 95 miles an hour at the top of the strike zone. 3 pitches, all of them the fastball. A lot of late swings on his fastball. It's explosive right out in front of home plate. A lot of carry to it.
Cuts right through another heater. Anderson swinging at all 4 pitches.
All of them at the top of the zone. Again, the fastball. See the high target from Mike. He's able to hit it. It's been impressive when he's been up with the Mariners. He's really pitched well, especially lately.
Well, I think it's important to keep in mind what you just said, Mike. We haven't seen a whole lot of Pagan, but from what we have seen, this does look to be a young man who can do a lot of different things for the Mariners. We've seen him in the long roll, but he obviously has some stuff that if you needed him for a critical inning, once his career gets to that point where he can garner that kind of status, seems like he's a guy who might be able to do that as well.
Yeah, you have to build up some confidence, but I don't think it'll take very long. I've actually had a conversation with Scott Service about Pagan, and this is when he wasn't even here. It was after he was sent back down. He really liked him a lot and thought that he would be back at some point. Here he is today. And that he was going to help this club, to your point, because he's able to do a lot of different things. And today they're looking for him to eat up some innings. Keep the score where it's at, give the offense a chance to get back in this game.
It's an interesting conversation point, Mike, because we talk about it all the time with position players, right? A guy like Amater who can play everywhere, a guy like Heredia or Gamble who can play all three outfield spots. We don't ever talk about it in terms of a reliever and guys who can serve in multiple roles. The guy right now for the Mariners that comes to mind is James Pazos, somebody who can face left-handers and right-handers, doesn't matter, who can work more than just 3 outs, or if you need him to, can come in and get a left-hander. And it must give Scott such a higher level of confidence when he has a couple of guys in the bullpen who are of a similar role of somebody like Pazos who can do a variety of things for him.
Pazos is different in that he's left-handed, but he also is 95 plus, and that's a rare thing. So yes, he can pitch through more than just a left-handed hitter. Pagan loses him.
A 1-out walk. Our CenturyLink what's next. A left-hander up the mound tomorrow for the Mariners. Ariel Miranda taking on Lance McCullers.
Back to what we were talking about with Zebchinski. He's somebody you're going to see off the left end. They don't want him to do much more than that. But Pazos is a guy that they like for the 1 inning, again, because of his stuff. I think Pagan, I think he's somebody that, as he gets some experience at this level, just looking at his stuff and how aggressive he is with his fastball, those are the things that Scott likes about him. He'll be able to pitch later in the games. Same thing. I don't think you just have to bring him in to face a right-hander. Power and fly ball.
Off the bat of Hansen. Gambled over in plenty of time. You can see the wind on his jersey. There's out number 2.
I think a lot of clubs now, and we're seeing examples of it, because starting pitching is so difficult, finding that one guy, maybe 2, that you can also have to bridge the gap when the starter's not able to go and to hold the score where it's at. It's not just a matter of a long guy coming in and just trying to eat up innings, and he gives up 2 or 3 runs over the course of that, and you have no chance to get back into the game.
Well, we will see the guy who has kind of helped make that position a thing in baseball, Chris Davinsky, beginning tomorrow night, an all-star this year. Somebody who has done everything from working, I think, as many as 3 innings for A.J. Hinch to picking up a 6-out save. He's kind of done it all for the Astros.
He's the example of it. I think that's becoming more and more popular all the time.
You know, people want to talk about Andrew Miller, and for good reason. He's one of the best, and you can make the case the best reliever in baseball. But the difference between Davinsky and Miller is that Miller isn't run out there for even 6 outs most of the time. He's a guy who can work more than 3 outs, but Davinsky has taken it to a higher level.
And that's what I like about Pagan. Same thing. He can pitch 2-3 innings for you.
Deep fly ball out. It finds Mater. A runner left. We've completed 4. The White Sox lead the Mariners by a score of 5-1 as we take a look now at today's T-Mobile Unlimited baseball break. With Ben Gamble leading off the fifth for the Mariners, we take a look at left-on-left averages this year. You can see where Ben Gamble ranks in, and these are some pretty big names. Inciarte having a fine year in Atlanta, the former Diamondback. Jackie Bradley Jr., we know what he can do for the Red Sox in center. Charlie Blackmon, an all-star this year. And Daniel Murphy has simply been one of the best hitters in the game the last couple of seasons. So Gamble, I'll tell you what, Mike, we've made a point of this before. For a young guy to be that good hanging in against left-handers has obviously led to him being an everyday guy for the Mariners.
It has. It's made it easy for Scott Service to keep him in the lineup every day because of it. Overall hitting .322. Grounded out to first. His first time up. He's back in the second inning.
Tops among rookies, third best average overall in the American League.
And I don't think it's one of those things where you think maybe he's been lucky or anything like that. You just look at his overall approach against left-handers, and for the most part he hangs in there on the breaking ball. He's aggressive on the fastball. Fastball right on the outside corner. And he stays in the middle of the field. All those are pluses if you want to go left on left and have some success, and he's been able to do that. There's an example on the breaking ball. He's serving in the left field.
Right on cue.
Let's take another look with Ben. And again, the most difficult thing is to hang in there on the breaking ball. And you take a look at it. That's not a bad pitch at all. It's at knee high, probably right towards the outside corner. And because he stays on it, let's try to do too much. Just a little line drive into left field to pick up another base hit. That average against lefties just went up again.
Speaking of lefties hanging in on a breaking ball, I saw a video yesterday, Mike, of a camera that was placed right behind home and actually zoomed in a little bit. So you were right there behind the home plate umpire as Zunino climbs in. And it showed Randy Johnson facing Kenny Lofton.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going?
I have a pretty good idea, yes.
And Randy threw a slider that when you see what Kenny Lofton saw, you're thinking this is coming right from my ear hole.
Yep.
And Kenny bailed out of the way as fast as he could, and all of a sudden you saw that arm of the umpire coming up for a strike. And you think, oh, that's why it looked like he was going to get pegged every time if you're a left-handed hitter facing Randy.
I remember moving up to that pitch, to your point, where I believe Kenny, a big part of his game was to bunt and get on base because of his speed. Tried that against Randy. Randy didn't particularly like it. So he moved him around a few times, which I think opened things up for that slider.
1-2 to Mike.
Kenny didn't particularly like it. Randy didn't really care. And we were in Cleveland and the benches emptied one time because of it. Really? Yeah. But overall, to be fair, you didn't see many left-handed hitters facing Randy. It was typically a day off for them.
Anderson can't get to it, down to his chest. Gamble checks into second base, and Eno is aboard. Back-to-back base hits. First time we've seen that today against Holland. We'll take a look at the Mariners calendar. Brought to you by Mattress Firm. Road trip continues tomorrow. 3 games against the first place Houston Astros, and then the Mariners are coming home for a fantastic homestand. New York Yankees in town Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Kids run around the bases on Sunday the 23rd. And then the Red Sox for 3 before a day off, and the Mets in town for a 3-game interleague series fireworks game when the Mets are in town. So a lot coming your way at Safeco Field. We hope to see you there. 2 on in front of Motter. Stares at a strike.
I'll tell you this, Kenny Lofton in his career against Randy Johnson, 242. I give him a lot of credit.
I would say so.
Yeah, 8 for 33. He did have 12 strikeouts, but that's what you would kind of expect. But he picked up 8 hits, 242 average against the Hall of Famer.
Strike to Motter. Mariners have Gamble at second base and Eno at first. When the Phillies were in town not long ago at Safeco Field, John Kruk was working in the telecast for the Phillies, and we had a chance to talk with Kruk about his famous all-star strikeout at bat against Randy Johnson. And he said that one of the questions that he gets asked all the time about that is, how do you think you would have done against him if it was a regular season game? Motter, little pick by Anderson. There you go, wild throw. He's committed 20 errors this season, the most of any player in the game. The bases are now loaded.
Well, it's part of the reason why the White Sox are next to last in fielding. He shows some range. He's a terrific athlete. He gets to it, but it looks like he's stuck, and it's a bad flip. Sanchez did not have any chance to make the catch. Definitely would not have been able to get two. Motter runs too well, but a break. Turn the lineup over. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Fielder's choice in an E6. Well, Kruk's response was, let me tell you something. If that was a regular season game, I would have been on the bench. A left-handed hitter himself. First pitch strike to Segura, who suddenly represents the tying run. And Holland was invincible the first 3 innings. Mariners got a run off of him in the 4th on Seager's homer.
One of the things that we're seeing from Holland, and we talked about it as far as the scouting report at the beginning of the game. He throws his fastball. He wants to throw it inside. There are a number of pitches borderline, some of them even off the plate inside. He's starting to get the call on that. We saw it with Cruz. First pitch to Segura. In this situation, behind by 4, you have to get at least 2 runs out of this situation.
Nobody out, the base is full for the top of the order. Line drive smoked into left field to Cabrera. Gamble tags, comes home, and the Mariners grab their 2nd run of the day on a sacrifice line drive by Gene Segura.
Really good at bat. It's bad luck there. Hit it right on the button.
Enjoy Summer Friday at the ballpark on July 28th with the Mariners and the Mets, plus taking a fireworks show for a special $17 price. It's our Summer 17 sing-along fireworks offer, available only at mariners.com/summer17. Offerings tomorrow at midnight. These sing-along fireworks shows have quickly become a very popular attraction over the summers at Safeco Field. Leadoff single scores. Valencia swings and misses at the first pitch.
Danny 1 for 2, a double back in the first inning. Against left-handers, probably about the last 3-4 left-handers we've seen. Danny has moved up and hit 2nd in the lineup. Talked to Scott about that, and he said he likes the way that he's been swinging. He's been hot. We talked about the slow start that he had, but since the beginning of May, he's been one of their better hitters. So he moves him up against the lefties.
Zunino at second base, Motter aboard at first. Good stop there by Narvaez behind the plate. Holland would like a new baseball. And you can see some good numbers with runners in scoring position. Better than good numbers, actually. The 1-1 inside. Now, runners in scoring position have been a problem for the Mariners the first 2 games. 3 for 19 Friday and Saturday. The biggest culprit game 1. The Mariners were 2 for 13.
0 for 3 today.
There it is. This is absolutely crushed. Danny Valencia, a big-time 3-run home run, and the Mariners are right back into this baby. They have tied it up thanks to Danny Valencia.
That's why Scott hits him second. It's lefties. Crushed right in the middle of the plate. See the big leg kick. A lot of power generated from that leg kick. It's 10th home run on the year.
In steps Cano. Yeah, how quickly this can change. Look at Holland. Not only was he nearly flawless over the first 2 innings, he barely broke a sweat. First 3 innings. Then the home run at Seager. Now 4 runs in here in the 5th. Only 1 out.
A little bit of time to make an adjustment to him. He's throwing a lot of strikes today. 61 pitches, 41 strikes.
Bobby representing the go-ahead run now. Everything away to Cano. Holland on his second glove today, thanks to Robbie. Soft fly ball. Hanson in center field. Oh, Mike, you mentioned the late kick of Valencia, and if you want to have a batting practice show for the Mariners, right? I mean, it's Nelson Cruz, it's Robinson Cano, and it's Danny Valencia. And this is not a guy who has the build of Nelson Cruz. How does he do it?
He is strong, I can tell you that. I've stood behind the cage and watched him hit, and he hits the ball as far as anybody and consistently deep in batting practice. 17 home runs last year, now 10 so far this year. But you saw the big leg kick. He generates a lot by loading up on his backside and hitting the ball extremely hard because he just turns it loose. But he's impressive in batting practice, there's no question about it.
And impressive here in the 5th inning. Valencia's 10th home run of the season, coming with 2 on, has tied it up. All tied all of a sudden. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. We take a look at our Geico this date in big league history. 1941. Joe DiMaggio extends his hitting streak to 56 games. As Ted Williams said, he even looks good at striking out. After that hitting streak ended for DiMaggio, he went on to have a 16-game streak. In fact, if you look at the streak overall, 72 of 73 games. Brand new ball game here in Chicago. Cabrera leads off the bottom of the 5th. Into right field. Gamble able to keep his feet, cover some ground.
Talked a lot about the outfield play, and they always, yes, they can run fast, cover a lot of ground, but their routes are terrific, and their breaks are too. They get a good read off the bat. Haniger out today, so Gamble getting the start in right field.
Sounds like Haniger really took some damage on that bunt attempt last night. Had to leave the game.
I believe it was the index finger for him on his right hand.
Hopefully a day off will do him some good. Trying to heal that up as quick as possible. Pagan taking over for Moore. The second inning of work here in the 5th. Now the 2-1. A lot of fly balls today on both sides. Segura backpedaling, staying with it, and he makes the catch.
Did a nice job staying with it.
2 up, 2 down
today.
Yeah. This Thursday, the Mariners kick off a 4-game series against the Yankees. Plus, it's Mariners baseball card night presented by Topps. All kids 14 and under score trading cards of some of their favorite Mariners, including Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, and more. Tickets at mariners.com.
I already mentioned a lot of fly ball outs today, and with Pagan in the game, so far he's been able to retire 5 batters, 4 of them in the air, and a big reason why is one, he has a good fastball. We've talked about that, but he's at the top of the strike zone today with it. Pretty good breaking ball right there. So you're going to get the ball in the air a lot more.
Ball 1 to Todd Frazier. Well, the bullpen has been fantastic these last 2 days. Pagan trying to continue that trend here this afternoon. The bullpen has not been needed as early the last couple of the games as it has been today. Another pop up.
Kyle's turn.
Kyle waiting a long time, drifting back into fair territory. 11 fly ball outs now as Pagan goes through the order in order. game. Danny Valencia tied this game up. Mike, a mammoth 3-run homer.
But again, it's all about his leg kick. For me, it's not an easy thing to do, but his leg kick will go back. He doesn't cross over. He's able to keep balance, and then he doesn't lunge too far forward. But what he's doing is hitting this baseball with all of his weight. So let's call it 220 pounds in that area, and he crushes it out. Not everybody can do that. It takes a certain amount of balance, and you can't lunge forward and get too far out there with your stride. That was picture perfect. It looked like an off-speed pitch that he hit out of the ballpark. I heard one time, many times really, from Lou Piniella, who, along with being a great manager, was a very good hitting instructor. And he used to talk to me all the time about hitting the baseball with whatever weight you had. Meaning, just what you just saw right there, loading up on that backside and cutting it loose and swinging and hitting through the ball with all of your weight. It's not an easy thing to do at times because there's balance and timing involved in it, but for Danny, he has it down pretty good because he can also hit a very good fastball along with an off-speed pitch.
Because wasn't there a time earlier in your career where you were actually swinging with your weight almost back?
I was more centered with it, and I didn't have much of a load. I didn't like that pitch. Breaking ball off the plate for good reason. A couple of pitches off the plate away to him.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, but the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners.
But what he was talking to me about, and this was early with Seattle. Base hit.
Past Anderson, past Frazier before that.
But being in the lineup every now and then and basically playing mostly against left-handers, I felt like my job was to, one, play good defense, but also just do everything I can to check in with the hit today, just to try to stay alive. When you're that 24th, 25th guy on the bench, right, it's a difficult thing. Well, because Edgar was getting injured and he eventually made him a DH and he wanted me to play every day, he said that in that position at third and where I was going to hit the lineup, he wanted me to hit for more power. And I just asked him simply, how am I going to do that? Because I used to be able to hit the ball to right field all the time, and that's kind of what I did. He said, you're going to give up on your average a little bit, you're going to strike out a little bit more, but I need you to drive it. And that's when he started talking about hitting with your weight, and that's loading up on the backside, and it's okay to come off of that. And we just started working on different things with it because it's different for everybody. You have a different feel for it. But I think it's important. If you watch most power hitters, they are really loading up on the backside. You see the leg kick a lot in today's game. That's the reason why the home run numbers are up, I think. Part of it. They understand that, and they're able to execute it.
You go Happy Gilmore at least once, Mike? Just a full-on running start. Just maybe against a soft tosser.
No, but I'll tell you what, when everything comes together and you time it right, you'll surprise yourself.
I feel like that.
But that was an excellent example of it, watching Danny swing.
Heredia can certainly score from first base. He is the go-ahead run. Look at this series so far for the Mariners. And as we had been talking for most of the first half about it was a matter of time before the Mariners started to hit more home runs. The Mariners have scored 13 runs now in this series, and 10 of those runs have come home via the long ball.
It's something that people were asking me about when you look at the first half and totals as far as home runs go for the Mariners and where they're ranked, especially when you consider what they were able to do last year, hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And I kept telling people it's a matter of time for them. When you look at the rate at which the baseball is going out all over baseball, it was a matter of time for this group of guys to start hitting it out on a consistent basis. And maybe the second half is when we're going to see that.
Anderson is short and a shallow left, called off by Cabrera. This series ending today in Chicago. The Mariners road trip continuing to Houston tomorrow. We are on the air at 4:30 with the pregame show. Our CenturyLink What's Next. Ariel Miranda making start number 19 of the season. Lance McCullers, who spent some time on the disabled list. Fantastic young right-hander with at times an unhittable curveball because of its velocity and its break. These two going at it tomorrow night from Minute Maid Park.
Mike Zunino with a base hit his last time up. So that fly ball to the warning track in center field his first time up.
Look at this lineup for the Mariners. And the top 5 in the order today all have a track record of 20 home run seasons. Valencia just shy of that, his career best. Zunino has been a 20 home run guy before. And of course, 20 home runs is just half the season for some of the guys we're talking about in the order.
Consider Robbie with 39 last year, Nelson 40 plus. Kyle with 30.
Ouch. Line drive, watch out. Zunino aboard for the second time. Heredia into third base. He is safe. Ball gets away, and Zunino scampered into third. To second, rather, with the slide.
It'll be an E8, base hit E8. And Mike hits this line drive about as hard as he can. Whistles it by Hall and back up the middle. Handcuffs the center fielder right off the heel of his glove. And Heredia with his speed takes advantage of it. Throw gets away. Mike moves up to second.
Hanson charged for 2 errors on that play.
Yeah, the fielding and then the throw. Mariners 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. A base hit, 3-run home run by Valencia. One of the keys looking into the series was taking advantage of miscues by Chicago against second to last in fielding. Here's an opportunity.
Motter at the plate with 2 outs and the go-ahead run at third.
Got out to short and reached on an error by the shortstop.
Ahead 2-0. Holland's last 7 starts, an ERA over 10. Mariners have him for 5 runs over 5 2/3 so far.
Anthony Swarzak, the right-hander, getting loose in the pen for Chicago.
Nelson Cruz able to get to Swarzak last night. Heredia at third base. Zunino is at second. And Segura is on deck. 3 balls and a strike to Motter.
2-0. He didn't give in to him. 2-0. It was a curveball. So he wants to do 3-1. Baez, the catcher, going out in the conversation with him. Segura waiting on deck. I think they want to go after him.
The first 3-ball count on the day for Holland to the number 9 hitter. The bases are loaded and Segura's coming up.
Yeah, Renteria out of the dugout quickly.
Well, let's see if the Mariners can get to Swarzak for the 2nd straight day.
Let's see. Holland with 80 pitches. He hasn't pointed out to the bullpen yet.
There he goes.
There it is.
Mariners threatening to take the lead. The bags are packed with 2 outs for Jean Segura. first 3 innings against Derek Holland. They have knocked him out of the game here in the 6th with 2 outs, and the bases are left loaded. Well, the Mariners with 5 runs off of Holland, 4 earned. The rest of his line here.
Just 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 81 pitches for him, 51 strikes overall. Mariners have 7 hits. He's responsible for all 3 base runners.
Well, the Mariners saw Swarzak last night. Looking to face him again here with Segura coming to the plate.
Having a good year for Chicago. A 2.5 ERA, 46 strikeouts, 11 walks in 43 innings. Opponents hitting just 207 against him. His fastball at 95 miles an hour. Also has a slider at 87. As Aaron mentioned, Nelson Cruz with a 2-run home run off of him last night.
Go ahead run at third base with 2 outs. Last night, right as we were chronicling how difficult Swarzak has been on right-handed hitters, how he had allowed only 1 home run all season. That was to Mike Trout. Nelson Cruz took him deep. One and one. Away from Narvaez, Heredia scoring easily, and the Mariners have taken the lead on a wild pitch with 2 outs and the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Only the 2nd wild pitch this year from Swarzak.
Well, he has a good slider, and he will throw it a lot. This slider hits the dirt. Narvaez not able to keep it in front of him. Heredia with his speed scores easily, and everybody else will move up a base. With 2 outs, a break for the Mariners.
Now the 2-1. 3-1.
Valencia on deck.
His 3-run homer tied it. Now this inning, the White Sox have committed 2 errors on the same play. They have walked the number 9 hitter. Now a wild pitch to score the go-ahead run. There's Hansen at center, who committed the errors. Zunino now at third base, Motter at second. On the way to 3-2. Swing and a miss. The strike 3. Segura not pleased. However, the go-ahead run coming home on a wild pitch from Swarzak. Pagan working well so far in relief of Andrew Moore. Pagan facing the minimum in the 5th. First time today the White Sox haven't retired in order. And steps Garcia, who is 2 for 2 with 2 home runs.
Second inning for Pagan. High fly ball out to strikeout. He also has a walk.
Ponzo's now beginning to stir inside the bullpen.
I was wondering what this was going to look like if the Mariners were able to take a lead in this ball game, and now that they have a 1-run lead. Talked about the bullpen at the start of the game. Tony Zick throwing 2 days in a row. Granted, only 6 pitches yesterday, but he's just now getting to the point where they're letting him go back-to-back days, coming off the injury. That fly ball will get out of the way. Nick Vincent also going from back-to-back days. He's been terrific. And of course Diaz also, as you take a look at the bullpen from May 21st.
They have been fantastic. This is over a period of nearly 50 games. And if you take out that 20-run contest in Minnesota where the bullpen gave up 10 runs, that ERA goes from 2.67 to 2.16.
The ERA over that time frame, the best in baseball. So the bullpen has really pitched well, but it's difficult to have guys go 3 days in a row. You kind of get to that point. Everybody, they said it before the game, was available. Pazos has not pitched. I think they would like for him to pitch the 7th. And we're talking about getting confidence in Pagan as he works his 3rd inning, trying to hold on to a 1-run lead.
Ground ball chops over to Segura. Handles it smoothly. Garcia is out number 1 as we go back to the Ford Sports Desk. Bringing Bill Kruger. Bill, we have really enjoyed watching Emilio Pagan. What have you made of him so far? Davidson into left field. A 1-out single. And Bill, how difficult is it for especially a young reliever, a young pitcher, to be able to handle a variety of roles? Not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Mike and I've already dreamed of these different ways that Scott can use Emilio Pagan.
Bill, how difficult is it to find a guy that I guess has the arm to be able to bounce back and do it? You mentioned he can pitch 3 innings. He can also come in and give you an inning, maybe even give you a right-hander depending on what the role is on a given night and where the bullpen is at overall. We talked about Davinsky with Houston. He's somebody that's done that a lot for them. How difficult is it to find that kind of arm, whether it's Pagan or anybody else, that can bounce back and give you that type of stuff in innings?
93 quick. Bill, as always, we appreciate the time and the insights. That's Bill Kruger. You can catch him after this one's over with on Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Anderson. The tying run is now at first. Davidson. Pazos getting loose. Left-hander due up next. Narvaez. And the pitch count now just over 30 for Pagan.
Let the guy move over.
The 2-2 ends him back. Full count.
See if Pagan possibly get another ground ball in this inning, get a double play and get out of it. If not, Pazos has not pitched so far at the start of the second half. So if he has to come in and clean up this inning and give him another inning, he's certainly capable of doing that.
Robbie out for a pep talk. Pagan's 3-2. 1 out, now 2 on. And here comes Scott Service. Pazos warmed up and ready to go. He will face Narvaez, who has homered and walked. The tying run for the White Sox is now in scoring position. By Jack in the Box. Come try the sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger combo for $4.99, limited time only. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Things getting interesting here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 out and 2 on. A pitching change. Pagan is out. Pazos is in. Pazos making his first appearance of the second half.
He's really been valuable for the Mariners. And not a situational lefty at all. Power arm, his fastball 95 plus and a hard slider. 35 appearances on the year. ERA just over 3. But 44 strikeouts and 35 in the third. Good number for him. Opponents hitting just .212.
He will face a pinch hitter, Kevin Smith, the starting catcher who had his Sunday off. A right-handed bat replacing Narvaez. Tying run at second base. Go ahead at first. Ground ball to Danny Valencia on the first pitch. Segura covering. Pazos hustling over to first base. And it is in time for the double play. 1 pitch and 2 outs. Worth another look. jam as we go to the top of the 7th. Cano will bat second, and earlier today when Holland was on the mound, Mike, this is not something we see too often. Well, on a couple of fronts.
No, behind the back, ball stuck in his glove. One of the leather strings was broken, so he decided to just underhand the glove, ball, everything over to the first baseman. Abreu able to handle it. Play that you'll see a lot of.
I think Abreu opened up that first baseman's glove about as wide as possible there. Valencia, Cano, and Cruz. Kevin Smith stays in the game. Saw one pitch, bounces to the double play. It was interesting. Pazos did not even give us time to explain this. He has been one of the best ground ball pitchers in the Mariners bullpen, plus the overwhelming velocity. But he's only had 2 double play balls turned behind him this year. Now you need to be in that situation to have it work out for you. But 1 pitch, 2 outs, and it's a pretty nice weapon for Scott Servais to have in the bullpen.
And we've talked about it a lot with the bullpen today. The guys have been terrific so far, but a number of guys working back-to-back days. So for Pazos to get out of the inning with just 1 pitch, that is a big plus. Nobody getting loose in the pen. He will come out and pitch the 7th.
10 scoreless innings spun by the Mariners bullpen this series. 3 hits.
Valencia with the big hit. He has a double, but it was the 3-run home run that tied up the ball game 5-5. He's back in the 5th inning. His 10th home run on the year.
Jennings is loosening inside of the White Sox bullpen. Chance we see him face Cano. There's a lefty. Two balls and 2 strikes to Valencia. Looks like Danny was trying to put his weight into that one, Mike.
I think he was. It looked like a slider that was up and in the middle of the plate. He turned it loose. Good swing. Just missed it.
Off the plate, a full count. Cano on deck, then Cruz. The 3-2. Well, the Mariners scoring 4 runs in game 1, 4 runs last night in game 2. Both games Mariners wins. Today with 6 runs, highlighted by a couple of homers, including the one Mike was just talking about, the 3-run smash by Danny. Seager going deep for the 2nd straight game. Again, the 3-2. Just got a piece back to the glove. Smack. 1 up, 1 down brings up Cano. Be on hand this Thursday as King Felix and the Mariners go to work against Aaron Judge and the Yankees. You can catch all the action from King's Court. Tickets are $40 and include a t-shirt and a K card. Just go to mariners.com/Felix for tickets. That'll be a good one back at Safeco Field. As expected, Jennings is coming in. He will face the left-handed bat of Robinson Cano. Thank you, Brad. Sounds like a good deal. Robbie facing Dan Jennings, left on left with 1 out and nobody on. Mariners lead at 6-5 here in the 7th. On the first pitch, a soft pop-up. Frazier's had a pretty quiet day at third base, and it continues as Anderson handles this. Two outs now facing Nelson Cruz.
Or Dan Jennings. Good fastball at 92 miles an hour. Just saw the slider at 83. Those are the 2 pitches for him. But he's pitched a lot for Chicago this year. 43 appearances, a 3-1 record, ERA to 4.26. 17 walks in 30 innings. A lot of walks for him. He's giving up 5 home runs. He will not face Nelson Cruz. They just put him on.
How long did it take for you to pick up on when they were intentionally giving the walk this year? Or was Blauer power just all over?
No, I would say probably the first couple of times, because we're constantly writing in our scorebook.
Right.
And I would look up and he's standing at first. And then it would dawn on me what happened. But probably the first couple of times it happened. Kyle has homered in back-to-back games. His home run total to 12. 49 RBIs for him.
Into the shift. Anderson, who has swung over the shortstop, makes the throw from right field. And that will end the top of the 7th. Cruz left stranded. We will stay right here on the south side for God Bless America.
Ballparks across America each Sunday, the singing of God Bless America is performed in support of our country and our men and women stationed overseas. Please welcome Jen Porter for the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Cracker Jacks, but what else could you buy with the Washington's lottery win? Play today. Mariners looking for their first series sweep in Chicago since 2003. They take a 6-5 lead into the home half of the 7th inning. Pazos back up on the mound, one pitch double play ball to get out of a jam that he inherited to end the 6th. He'll face batters 9-1 and 2. He begins with Hansen.
All of them switch hitters.
You're right. Hansen, Sanchez, and Cabrera.
Hansen just 0 for 4 against left-handers this year.
Ball and a strike.
Cishek getting loose in the pen. For the first three that Aaron mentioned, you get back to the middle of the lineup in Abreu, Frazier, Garcia, all right-handed hitters.
That last pitch, Mike, a fastball that looked based on the swing by Hansen a lot faster than 94.
And that's because it was elevated at the top of the strike zone.
Changes defensively. Dyson off the bench. He is in center field for the Mariners. Motter is out as Heredia has moved from center to left. Line drive to left field. Third base hit. Hansen making the turn. And the tying run for the White Sox is in scoring position with nobody out in the bottom of the seventh.
Fastball middle in. 95 miles an hour, able to get the barrel to it. They are down into the corner. And this is something we've talked about all day, basically, for good reason.
Last couple of nights, these guys have been fantastic. Zick, Vincent, Diaz, all are available. However, Scott Servais saying that if he could, he would like to stay away from Zick. Rather him not work 3 days in a row.
Corners are in, expecting the bunt.
Sanchez at the plate. Joe's bunt off the plate. Zunino waits for it to flat, throws to first. Cano Pepper. Hansen into third. Healthy enough fly ball now ties this game.
Just a perfect sacrifice bunt, not trying to be too cute with it. Just get it in fair territory. Hansen, the runner at second base, runs well, so he just wanted to get it fair, and he was able to do that. Infield in now with Cabrera hitting. Cabrera hitting 286. The right-handed hitter.
A big spot here for Pazos. One out tying run 90 feet from home. On the first pitch, Seager racing to the bag at third. He's safe. Throw from his knees, still in time to get Cabrera at first.
You cannot do it any better than what Kyle just tried to do. One, to make the play. Two, know where the runner's at. See him in backhand play. Hansen trying to scramble back. He doesn't wait, though. Right away he turns and throws to first. I'm not even sure he saw the safe sign. Didn't want to take a chance. Still able to throw Cabrera out by a couple of steps. Great effort. He has been busy in this series and has really played well defensively. Almost came up with what would have been a terrific double play.
You don't normally have to see a third baseman tackle a base runner to get it out. That was incredible. Abreu is due up. And Pazos, although we have certainly seen him pitch to his fair share of right-handers. Steve Cishek coming in to work his second day in a row. 2 outs, tying run still at third. Mariners lead it by a run. We'll take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Tomorrow we are on the airwaves at 4:30. Game 1 of 3, Mariners and the Houston Astros. Ariel Miranda making start number 19 on the season. Opponents are hitting just .216 against Miranda this year. He'll be opposed by the curveball of Lance McCullers. Steve Cishek is on right. He is facing Jose Abreu, batting with 2 outs and a tying run at third base.
The second day in a row for Steve. He pitched in last night's ball game. A 3.60 ERA for him. Opponents hitting just 196. Fastball last night was 91 to 92 miles an hour. And of course, the slider, sweeping slider for him.
Abreu, the go-ahead run at the plate with 16 homers. Looks at strike 1. Slider misses, 1 ball and 1 strike. Cishek falls behind.
I don't think he will give in to him. I don't like to put the go-ahead run on, but I think he will try to pitch around him as much as he can, make him hit his pitch if possible. He wants him, he'll move on to the next batter.
Frazier on deck.
And another slider. Well executed, gets to the outside corner. Mike's biggest concern is to keep it down. Definitely above the knees, but it was on the corner.
Tying run at third. The 2-2. Ground ball past Seager. With 2 strikes, Abreu comes up with a game-tying double.
And again, it's on the slider. He wants it down again. Just did not get it down in the zone. It was going back towards the outside corner. Looked like a pretty good pitch towards the end of the bat of Abreu, but he hits it past Kyle. So the diving effort, not much of a chance to get to it.
First run given up by the bullpen this series. The leadoff double has scored.
Take another look at it. Right off the cut of the grass. Speeds up, bigger bounce, and Kyle not able to get there.
One ball and 1 strike for Frazier. Zeno appeals on the check swing. Does not go around.
Good fastball low at 90. Just missing the inside corner. Borderline pitch. He's gone in there a couple of times to set up the slider away. Very good pitch. Didn't get the call.
3-1. Garcia is on deck. He is homered twice today. 2 outs, first and second.
Not many opportunities for the White Sox this afternoon. They are 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position.
Going after the first pitch.
It's a slider in the middle of the plate and elevated for him.
Nearly a third of his home runs this year have come at the expense of the Mariners. Abreu at second. One ball and one strike. Well, the Mariners bullpen able to keep the White Sox off the board until now. 4 or 5 runs over 3 innings. 1-2.
Good fastball in the outside corner. Defensively, the Mariners playing straight up. The outfield and the infield. Take a look at it.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. That ends the inning. 2 runners are left, but a run is in. The leadoff double from Hansen scores, and we are all tied now through 7. This game suddenly tied at 6. Plenty of young fans here inside Guaranteed Rate Field, with more going on than just the baseball game. Get ready for 10 can't-miss games coming up at Safeco Field. The Mariners host the Yankees for 4 games starting this Thursday, then take on the Red Sox June 24th through the 26th, and finally cap off this epic homestand with a weekend series against the Mets July 28th, 29th, and 30th. So be there by picking up tickets by going to mariners.com. A lot of good baseball coming up at Safeco Field once the Mariners get back home. Tied game is Heredia leads off the top of the 8th, facing a new pitcher, Tommy Kahnle. Kahnle working back-to-back days.
Good fastball at 98 miles an hour. Slider and a changeup to go with it.
Now the hands foul back 1-1.
36 appearances on the year, ERA at 2.5. Opponent's hitting .213. 58 strikeouts to 7 walks in 35 innings. impressive numbers for him.
Ton of punch outs.
A couple of fastballs at 98 miles an hour at the top of the strike zone. Mentioned earlier the struggles for the White Sox this year. The one thing that we have seen in this series is they have some power arms out in that bullpen. Saw Swarzak 95 with a slider. Kane Lee's been 98.
Tail into the gap in right center. Hansen gallops over to make the catch. 1 down. Speaking of hard throwing relievers and the bullpen, trade going down earlier today as two guys that we see a lot of, Doolittle and Madsen, made for a very tough back end of the A's bullpen. Now going to our nation's capital, the Nationals, making a move.
Nationals have had a lot of issues with their bullpen this year.
And steps Ben Gamble with 1 out. Vincent getting loose. He's worked the first 2 games of this series.
In the center fielder shading towards left center. Big gap in a right center field.
Left side backhand play. Anderson, a good throw, a little bit up the line, and it takes Abreu off. Impressive that Anderson was just able to get into the vicinity to Abreu.
Will be an infield hit. Another good at bat for Gamble, his second hit. Talking about Anderson and the errors he's made this year, and he's made his share, but he's athletic, has a strong throwing arm. That would have been a great play to get Gamble with his speed. That brings Zunino to the plate. Take another look at it. Mike is 2 for 3. Run scored.
Go ahead, run it first for Zunino. Going after the first pitch at 97. Another fastball strike, 0-2. Mariners with 2 home runs today, Seager and Valencia. Danny's tied the game. Three pitches, all heaters. 2 outs.
Don't forget Dyson will get his first at bat of the afternoon. Came in to play defense for Taylor Motter, who had to start in left field.
Next double for Dyson will tie a career best. Mark that he set last year, 14 with Kansas City. Is it inside for ball 1?
Already a single season high for him, home runs with 5.
Think Dyson knows that?
I think he probably is aware. Pretty good swing at that fastball, just a little bit too high. 97 miles an hour. And he's throwing hard.
White Sox tied this game up in the bottom of the 7th. A 2-out, 2-strike double by Abreu.
Gamble wants to try to steal a base. He had a couple of outs. Trying to get into scoring position.
One and two. White Sox, for as bad as their record is, and as much of a struggle as it has been, they've dropped 6 of their last 7. They have played their fair share of close games in that span. So shaping to be another one here for Rick Renteria and the White Sox. The 1-2. Dyson is seeing a ton of velocity in this at bat.
Next pitch will be 6 in the at bat.
Gambled at first base, 2 outs. High fastball at 97 out of the zone. But Dyson swings through it. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Make your voice heard. Nominate your favorite plays of the week by tweeting us using the hashtag RootFanFave. Each month, one lucky fan will win a Coors Light mini fridge just for participating. For official rules, just visit rootsports.com. Matt Davidson, the DH, with 18 home runs, leads off the home 8th inning.
Let's go, Matty D!
Check back out there.
Yeah, we saw Nick Vincent getting loose. He was not going to come into the game unless the Mariners were able to get the lead. That did not happen. So Steve will get his 2nd inning of work. And Nick Vincent has worked the first 2 games. Nobody getting loose in the pen for the Mariners at the moment.
Davidson, really interesting story. Back in 2014, a full season in AAA, hit 199. The next year, 2015, in AAA, 203. Things were not going well. Last year, hit nearly 270 in AAA Charlotte the Knights. So things much better. In fact, so much better that he was called up to the majors, picked up a base hit in his first game last season with the White Sox and broke his ankle rounding first base. If go to the DL for some time. In fair territory, Seager's throw on the money. 1 out. And now Davidson having a fine year. Losing in terms of the power numbers, a lot of strikeouts, but they've done some damage.
You mentioned all the strikeouts, but 242 average with 18 home runs. First full season. They would be happy with that. Obviously, a lot of time in games to add to those totals.
1 up, 1 down. Here's Anderson. Anderson drawing a rare walk his last plate appearance. He had only 9 walks in the first half. Checks his swings, and Eno asks if he goes. Now Hallion says he does not. Gamble chasing this by the retaining wall, but a foul ball. 2-2. The Mariners took the lead earlier in this game. That was in the 6th on a wild pitch that scored Heredia from 3rd. White Sox tying it up in the 7th. 2-out double from Abreu off of Cishek. Rolls over to Seager. Those 2 outs go in the way of Kyle at 3rd base.
Kyle has had a busy series in the field. He's really played well. A lot of work in last night's ball game. Back-to-back plays here. Bottom of the 8th.
I would have to think, and you can speak to this, Mike, that Kyle prefers it that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes it fun.
For sure. We'll just be standing around for a few days in Chicago. Kevin Smith saw 1 pitch his last at bat. He will see 1 pitch in this at bat. Earlier a double play ball. This time flies out to Gamble. That'll do it at the bottom of the 8th. 10 pitches for Steve Cishek. We go to the 9th, tied at 6. Mariners here in the 9th inning. We are all tied at 6. Take a look at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Mattress Firm. This road trip continues tomorrow. 3 games in Houston. Ariel Miranda going tomorrow night for the Mariners. Then a huge homestand. The Yankees in town A 4-game series beginning Thursday, ending Sunday. Kids run the bases on Sunday the 23rd. Red Sox come to town for 3 before a day off. And then the Mets for 3 games. Fireworks mixed in during the Mets series. Hope to see you out at Safeco Field. Big homestand coming up. Mariners will face the White Sox closer for the 2nd straight day. Here's David Robertson.
30 appearances on the year, 13 saves. Obviously not a save opportunity for him. 2.78 ERA, 46 strikeouts, 11 walks, 32. In the 3rd innings, opponents hitting 179 against him. Fastball, cutter, slider, curve. Typically you'll stay with the cutter slider combination, or excuse me, cutter curveball combination.
Well, if saving games is Robertson's primary job, he has not had many opportunities to do that lately. Only 2 save opportunities the last 4 weeks for Robertson. The 0-1. This has been a rare hitless day so far for Segura. Flew out to the warning track in center field of the 3rd. Did have a sacrifice fly. And that gets him. 90 miles an hour, and Segura does not look too comfortable.
Looking out over the plate, probably for the cutter, and it hits him in the small of his back. We could hear it all the way up here in the booth. That's a solid contact. Ball ricochets back towards the field of play. That's the good news is they have their leadoff hitter on.
Not the way that Segura imagined.
Tough way to get there, but he's on base.
That was a firm 90 miles an hour to the small of his back. See what Valencia can do. A 3-run home run today, also a double.
All the outfielders playing right in front of the warning track, trying to take the double away.
Danny having to talk about that location. Go ahead run with some good speed is at first base. Back it up onto second for 1 to first. It is in time for the double play.
Turned out to be a pretty good play. It looked as if the second hop with a lot of topspin almost handcuffs Anderson. He catches off the heel of his glove but gets rid of it quickly. Good turn by Sanchez, the second baseman.
I'll tell you what, Mike, we don't need to see Anderson a whole lot over the course of the year, but for a guy who looks very athletic almost every time the ball's hit to him, it's pretty surprising that he's had as many errors.
Sometimes, especially when you're a young player, though, you'll get a lot of errors, especially throwing errors, trying to make plays that maybe you shouldn't.
2 outs, nobody on for Cano.
In other words, you rush a throw, panic a little bit, things like that. I think that those numbers will come down for him. For Robbie, it was the star Friday night. Big home run. That was the difference in the ball game. It was on a cutter, and again, what Robertson likes to throw is the cutter.
Robbie facing a former teammate of his. Both were in the Bronx at the same time. Cano ahead 2-0. Now 3-0.
Robbie letting everybody know that he did not go in. So. Diaz getting loose just in case.
White Sox have the shift on for Cano. Taking on 3-0 a strike. Well, Nelson Cruz is on deck as we peek inside the Mariners bullpen.
Nick Vincent was up earlier in the game.
Full count. Nelly has been hit, also has been intentionally walked. The 3-2.
Went back to his curveball at 82 miles an hour.
David, put him away.
Down on strikes. The side sat down in order despite a leadoff hit by pitch. We go to the bottom of the ninth, all tied. For the Mariners, he'll face batters 9-1 and 2 of the White Sox. And again, the bullpen the last two nights, Zick, Vincent, Diaz, each working an inning, and all three fantastic. So 3 straight days for Nick Vincent.
21 pitches for him over the 2 games. He had 3 strikeouts. I saw him this morning, came out for a run. I watched him play catch. Looked pretty good. Said that he was available, and here he is. This will be his 40th appearance on the year. A 1.91 ERA for him. Opponent's hitting .226. His fastball at 90 miles an hour, has a cutter in the upper 80s and a slider to go with it.
So I guess tomorrow when the Mariners lead by 3 runs late in the ball game, it will be someone other than Vincent to work out of Scott's bullpen.
I would say that that's safe, being this is 3rd day in a row.
Come on, Alan, let's go.
It was Hanson who scored the tying run in the 7th. A run wins it for Chicago. A running chop.
The swinging bunt. Going to take it to the right side of the infield. Play a little pepper towards second base. They're quickly ahead 0-2.
Inside, ball and 2 strikes. Now the bullpen has just been exceptional in this series. A longer day for the bullpen this afternoon. More going just 3.
Right about exceptional. They've had to work a lot. Paxton going 6 innings in the first game. Felix 5 after that. And a short outing for Andrew today. Just going to 3 innings.
We are tied at the bottom of the 9th inning. The 2-2.
Come on, Ellen.
Mariners have already secured their first series win here in Chicago since '07. If they want their first series sweep in the Windy City since 2003, it will have to come in extra innings. I chop Valencia, low pick right by the laces. 1 out.
Danny with the big home run. He's been really good defensively, guarding the line with the left-handed hitter. A little bit short hop, but he handles it with the backhand. He'll guard the line again. Another left-handed hitter. Sanchez, switch hitter, hitting left-handed. Sacrifice bunt his last time up.
Looking at ball 1. If you look at the Mariners bullpen numbers this month, 2nd in the major leagues in WHIP, 2nd in opposing batting average, 1st in all the big leagues in ERA and OPS. These guys have been dealing all month, and it has been highlighted in this series.
Well, I'll go back and say it again. They had to make a decision. They were getting towards probably the first week of May. A lot of the guys were getting overworked. Obviously, a lot of injuries to the rotation. And Scott Service decided that people like Nick Vincent, Diaz, Pazos, Zepchinski, those guys were not going to pitch unless the Mariners had the lead. Because once they had the lead, he wanted them to be able to win the ball game and those guys to be fresh. And it's really worked out well for him when you read the numbers like that, Aaron. And it's not always easy to be committed to something like that, especially when you're within a run of a game, but just committed that you're not going to use your best because you can't afford to. And it's paid off, especially if you look at what's happened over the last couple of games and the way that they've pitched to win the first 2 games of the second half.
Strike 3 called. 2 outs.
Going to be a fastball. Again, it's fastball at 90 miles an hour. Pretty good 2-seamer, it looked like, trying to run it off the outside corner. Nice job by Zunino to frame it. Probably stole a strike right there.
Two up, 2 down, facing Cabrera. Tied at 6, bottom of the 9th inning. Fouls off the first pitch for strike one.
Trying to get the cutter in on his hands.
Vincent trying to get this game to the 10th. And now ahead 1-2.
And that is why you see Danny Valencia on the line late in the ball game, trying to keep him from hitting a double. That'll just foul. Danny guarding the line has already made a play here in this inning.
Come on, Melky.
2 outs, the base is empty. And the 1-2. Going after a pitch up out of the zone.
That's something that Vincent will do. If you look at him and the way he pitches and the stuff that he has, he'll go to the bottom of the strike zone. That last pitch at the top of the strike zone, pitch off the corners, both edges of the plate. Rarely does he throw pitches in the middle of the plate. Has some deception in what he's doing. Set up inside again.
Routine pop-up. Here comes Seager. And we are on our way to the 10th inning here in Chicago. Mariners bringing some big bats up. See Nelson Cruz and Kyle Seager. We go to the 10th. And the White Sox tied at 6 in the final game of the set. Earlier today, the Mariners getting a big home run, get them right back into this game. A 3-run dash right here from Valencia.
Like curveball out over the plate. Well, back into the seats for Danny, his 10th home run on the year.
And a new pitcher. This is Chris Beck taking over.
34 appearances on the year. Opponent's hitting .250. He has given up 7 home runs this year, and he can get wild time. 16 walks and 37 innings pitched for him. Good fastball at 95 miles an hour. Cutter, curve, and a split. Nelson Cruz leading off.
First pitch to Nelly.
Nelson intentionally walked in his last at bat. As a Mariner, that's happened twice with the bases empty and they walked him. Didn't want to pitch to him with nobody on. Last time that that was done for. Mariner was in 1998, and of course Ken Gifford Jr. where they walked him a couple of times intentionally with nobody on base. Worried about him hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And a good count for him, 2-0.
Now 3-0. Seager on deck. Becca got some reverse splits. Right-handers are actually doing some damage to him. Like this, maybe down by the pole, carrying out and gone. Line drive laser, Nelson Cruz. Mariners are on top here in the 10th, and it did not take long. What a series for Nelson Cruz. A home run in last night's game, a home run here in extras.
Well, that's why they walked him last time with nobody on base. A little different this time with nobody out, but he makes him pay. 3-0. This is a line drive. They ended up getting it on the label, but he's so strong he was able to line it to the back of the bullpen. That'll be it for Chris Beck. He's amazing.
You know, guys, don't take these home runs for granted.
Well, it's great to see the middle of the lineup. 2 homers for him, 2 for Kyle, and Robinson Cano also has homered in this series.
Awesome stuff. Nelson Cruz. Pitching change to face Kyle Seager. Mariners have the lead. Laser beam home run out to left field on a 3-0 count. That has given the Mariners a 7-6 lead here in the 10th, and a lot of smiles from Scott Service. New pitcher, the only other lefty in the bullpen. There is David Holmberg. He will work to Kyle Seager.
The ERA right at 3. 42 innings for him. 23 strikeouts, 19 walks. Listening to 213. He's going to have 5 home runs. Fastball right around 88 miles an hour. Has a slider, curveball, and a changeup to go with it. Bends out of the way of a strike. Mariners have now hit 3 home runs in this game. Seager, Valencia, and now Cruz. The opposite way, dropping in for a base hit. And the left on left does not work out so well for the White Sox. Seager is aboard. Mariners with a couple of home runs in last night's ball game. Both Cruz and Seager. Kyle's homer in back-to-back games and checks in with another base hit.
We don't quit, buddy. You're right. Did you see his wave?
Bring up Heredia. He is 1 for 4 this afternoon.
Oh, can you see now? Can you see us now?
Now for Nelson Cruz, that was his 4th career home run on a 3-0 count. And Mike, what do you make of this? It is the first Mariners home run this season when the count is 3-0.
I'm really surprised by that because, especially with the guys in the middle of the lineup, Scott will let them swing 3-0. We talked about it earlier in the ball game. Mariners have not hit a lot of home runs up to this point, but that's starting to change here, especially in this series for them. It's still surprising to me.
But walk us through a little bit the approach on a 3-0 count, because especially for a guy like Nelson Cruz, I think there's this automatic assumption kind of across the board that if you get ahead 3-0 that you're definitely going to see a strike. But for Nelly, and if we see what he can do, if you're the opposing pitcher, maybe would rather not throw him a strike.
It's a great point. It really does depend on the hitter. One, if they're even going to have the ability to swing in 3-0, if the manager will let him. Nelson obviously will. We've seen Kyle do it, Robbie. Those guys can swing away in those counts. And you're right about Nelson. But the good news about being a 3-0 is you look in an area that you like. You're thinking pretty much that you're going to get a fastball. With Nelson, there's no guarantee on that either. But if he swings and misses, it's a 3-1 count. He's still in pretty good shape. So take a chance. That's where you get a free shot. Take a chance.
Lays out to Hansen, making the catch. 1 down. Already a retired Seager back to first. I'll stick around after the game to watch a new episode of Mariners All Access. Get exclusive player interviews, behind the scenes footage, and Mariners stories you can't find anywhere else. If you missed today's episode, tune in for re-airs throughout the week right here on Root Sports.
And I think it's a little bit different even for Nelson. He probably doesn't even look in an area. He's just looking to hit a fastball, because he can hit fastball out from line to line. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be inside. It can be out over the plate and he'll still do damage. We saw that last night.
Well, that is the Ben Gamble approach, as he told us a couple of weeks ago. Man, I'm just trying to hit a fastball. And it has worked out for him.
I love it. It's definitely worked out for him. See a couple of hits for him today, including a hit off of a left-hander.
Behind 0-2.
I mean, I think it's great sometimes, even refreshing. You look at all the numbers, and we're all into them. You and I discuss them every day. Players certainly know them. The coaches are into it, and you're down to hear a player just make it that simple. I'm just trying to hit a fastball. That's about as simple as it gets for you, and if it works for you, terrific, and it has for Ben.
Lifted out towards left center. Hansen nearing the warning track. 2 down. Mariners have the lead thanks to the leadoff home run by Nelson Cruz. Now here's Mike Zunino.
Let's see if Mike can give him a little bit of insurance. Mike having a good afternoon. He is 2 for 4. A couple of base hits and a scored a run. Go out to the warning track in his first at bat.
Pops the first pitch up and foul.
Diaz is ready to go in the pen for the Mariners. Both Vincent and Diaz will work 3 days in a row.
Seager taken off into center field. Hansen busy in the 10th. Nothing he can do about Nelson Cruz, though. Nelly, a leadoff home run. Mariners have a chance to win, and we go to the bottom of the 10th. Edwin Diaz coming on. 11 have come on the long ball, and the latest from that man Nelson Cruz, leadoff blast at the top of this 10th inning to give the Mariners a 7-6 lead, and now to lock it down 3 outs away from a win. Edwin Diaz for the 3rd straight day.
15 saves on the year, a 3.35 ERA, 52 strikeouts and 37 2/3. Good number for him. Opponent's hitting just over 200, 204 average against Diaz. In the first 2 outings, he has touched 100 miles an hour. First outing was pretty easy. Get the first save. Last time, a little bit of a challenge for him. He threw 26 pitches. Had an excellent slider. Was ending the game on a slider last night. We'll see where his fastball command is and where the velocity is at his 3rd day in a row. The pitch to the middle of the lineup. Abreu, Frazier, Garcia.
No walk in the park for Diaz.
High leverage, you're saying, Aaron?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Mike. That's one way to put it. First pitch at 99 for a strike. Does that answer your previous question?
Check the velocity.
He's in good shape. Oh, 2.
Pretty good slider at 90, just off the outside corner. It was interesting watching him last night. His fastball command, a little bit of a struggle for him, but he had excellent command of his slider. In the first night, he had a very good fastball. Was able to pitch on the corners with it.
Oh, yeah. Abreu is down on 3 pitches. Finished up with the slider. Good luck.
Yeah, really, that's exactly what it is. And you see 99 on the first pitch, and then you come back with 2 sliders. Both of them in that 90-mile-an-hour range, and you're trying to catch up to a fastball. It's difficult. The key again, working ahead.
Now facing Frazier.
Hey, no.
Missing with that fastball at 98 miles an hour.
In on the hands at 99.
And Frazier is a good fastball hitter, but you can see how that just tied him up. He thought he was on the fastball. That fastball in the inside corner, right at the top of the zone.
We have seen that reaction from Frazier in this series before on a pitch from Diaz. 2-2. I think the slowest fastball today from Edwin. Swing and a miss for strike 3. 99 outside the zone. Back-to-back strikeouts for Diaz here in the 10th.
And this is just going right at him. 99 off the outside corner. A late swing. Well located off the plate. Even if he gets a piece of it, he's not going to do much with it. Just trying to foul it off.
He has made quick work of Abreu, and Frazier now facing Garcia, who has homered twice today. Oh, and 1, another heater. Boy, for as wild, especially to the glove side, as that fastball was last night, Mike, this is a much different story today.
It is. Mike was set up outside. It was on the inside corner, but elevated and tied him up. But he's been right around the strike zone with it today.
0-2.
Good slider at 90 again, just off the outside corner. He could probably go right back out there a couple more times and get another swing.
Trying to document this one. The 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Diaz strikes out the side in order. And for the first time since 2003, Mike, the Mariners sweep the White Sox in Chicago.
You have to give this bullpen a lot of credit. They've had to pitch a lot of innings for the 3 games, and they gave up just 1 run in all the innings that they pitched, and it was dominant performance, including Diaz right there. He had 2 strikeouts in his first save on Friday, 2 last night, and now 3 strikeouts this afternoon to pick up 3 saves, 16 on the year. Just a tremendous performance by the bullpen. It's good to see the guys in the middle of the lineup hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
No kidding. 1 run over 14 innings for this Mariners bullpen, and for the first time in young Edwin Diaz's career, he has picked up the save in 3 consecutive days. What a series. On to Houston. Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines starts right now. Guys, take it away.